The ebook.
Hold it up.
Oh, it is an ebook.
Wait.
I'm still loving the. What's
Everyone's still getting the book though.
fourth doctor? What's your name?
Peter.
Peter. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
doctor's name. Everybody, we know now.
Yes.
I love that costume. It's so good, though.
That is a really good costume.
It is.
Thanks. Thanks.
Great. I'm ready.
I'm Bridget. It's like it's live.
Okay, I'm Molly.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
Go next.
I'll go. I'm Peter.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex.
And we're gonna be talking about Magnus Chase, if you can't tell.
Woo! The longest title ever. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Book 1, The Sword of Summer.
So you guys want to like go around and share our thoughts first, like impressions and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bridget, do you want to start?
Sure. So I really liked this book. I liked that we got the chapter titles again, sort of like Percy Jackson, because we sort of didn't have those for a little bit there. And I don't know, I just really liked all the references and stuff it had in it, and it was made me smile, and it was really fun.
Yeah, I liked the references so much. Like the one chapter title where it was like, like so and so passes out more than Jason Grace, even though I don't know who that is, and just all the little ones. And I just liked it because it felt like Percy Jackson again, because I read Percy Jackson and it felt like we were genuinely like learning Greek mythology. And I've like learned all this stuff about Norse mythology. And then in one of my German studies classes at university, our teacher started teaching Norse mythology, and I was like, I already know all of this. She was like, do you know what the people are that like carry them to the afterlife? And I was like, Valkyries. All about that. So yeah.
Down.
I also liked that it was real quick. I'll let someone else go. I really liked, and I said this in my book talk a lot. I was really afraid it was gonna just seem like Percy Jackson with Norse mythology, and it didn't. Like the story was so incredibly different, and like Magnus was like he was just as funny, and I think equally as fun to read, but he was still so completely different from Percy, which I really appreciated that it wasn't just like because I was afraid it would just read like Percy Jackson over again, and it didn't. It was a whole new story. I really liked that.
I kind of had mixed feelings about it. I thought it was a great story for the most part. I thought it was a bit longer than I would have liked.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like there was lots of like, first we do this, next we have to do this, now we have to do this, you know?
There's a lot of I felt like it like at the 2/3 mark it like lulled for a minute.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think because like it felt like they were just, it almost got sort of repetitive. They kept having to like do something else, and then I was like, what, where's this going? And also, I really liked the chapter titles, like you guys said, and it was very reminiscent of Percy Jackson, and it wasn't too much like Percy Jackson. But in honesty, I think because I think I like Norse mythology a little more than Greek mythology, I didn't know what to think of his use of it, the way how he changed certain, even though they were subtle things, I didn't really like that.
Because I don't know Norse mythology.
Let me think of a good example. I mean, like, for example, whenever he, like, modernized something, right, like how Valhalla has, like, a gift shop or something, like, like,
Yeah.
it's funny, but just for me, I wasn't,
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I can see how that bugs people at times, but that is kind of like Rick Riordan's thing, though, is he makes all the mythology super modern, like Olympus is on the top of the Empire State Building and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Drives a Maserati or whatever.
I did think Valhalla was hilarious, though, like when they were on the battlefield and Thomas Jefferson Jr. was like, quick, let's take that hill. And he's like, why does he want to take a hill? She's like, he always wants to take hills. It's a Civil War thing. Like, just there were so many jokes. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the thing I love about Rick Riordan's books is that he can always teach mythology to kids like who don't even understand who these Greek gods are or who the Norse gods are, which I really love. And I do love Norse mythology more than I do like Greek mythology. I think some people can agree with that. Some people don't because of the way he writes it. But like Molly said, like I thought Magnus is gonna be exactly like Percy. That's not even a question. Like when I first read this, I'm like, oh my god, this is just a Percy Jackson book. But I really love this one. I actually did like it more than Percy Jackson series. Can anyone say the same?
I don't think I liked it more than Percy. Okay, a lot of booktubers like Heroes of Olympus more because they're older. But I liked Heroes of Olympus. Okay, I liked this equal with Percy Jackson.
Really,
Like,
this was. Really
I liked that he was. I did like that he was older, and the jokes were a little more sarcastic, and the characters were more mature because they weren't like 12. But I liked Percy a lot. But I definitely liked it more than Heroes of Olympus. I think because Heroes of Olympus, I personally don't like menagerie casts like that where it's like we're gonna be in like 15 people's heads.
Yeah.
I like the first person. I think it's funnier too when you have when we had Percy narrate, it was hilarious, and having Magnus narrate was hilarious. So
Also, having one character narrate, you get the chapter titles.
I love the. Oh my god, the first joke in this I read that I was like, this is gonna be hilarious is when he's in the car with his uncle. And his uncle said something about some fact about Norse mythology. And he's like, no, that's a fact. Scholars agree on it. And Magnus is like, well, thank God. I hate when scholars disagree.
No. My favorite chapter title is "Come to the Dark Side. We have Pop-Tarts."
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about chapter titles.
Did anyone else picture Loki looking like Loki from the Avengers, even though
Yes,
he's
yes, I did.
totally not to look like that? I'm like, no, it's Tom Hiddleston.
I
saw Rick Riordan, and he was like, "It doesn't look like Tom Hiddleston. I know all of you want him to be Tom Hiddleston."
Oh my god, yeah, what the heck?
He described Thor, and I was like, so Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, and he was like, "Frey looks a lot more like Thor in the movies than Thor does." I think my favorite chapter title was the one about that incorporated the oh my gosh, the Hearthstone passes out even more than Jason Grace, so I don't know who that is.
I know, that was my favorite too. I had to put the book down lap. I love how Riordan just joke the inside jokes with the readers, back at the when we got House of Hades, and he was like, "Dear readers, sorry for that last cliffhanger. Not really, ha ha ha."
I think one of my favorite things that he said was when Thor had to catch up on his seasons of Sherlock. Because no one has to catch up on Sherlock.
I can't go with you. I have a prior engagement, and they're like Game of Thrones. And the Game of Thrones is on. Thor has to go watch that.
On his hammer.
There was a lot of things I thought, just like I said in my review, that I thought were so interesting, how you saw how this mythology plays into all of them, that the goddess of not worthy dead people was called Hell, and I was like, oh snap, Christianity calls that Hell. And one thing I noticed was they called the wolf Fenris, and in a book I'd read before that was Red Riding Hood retelling, they called the werewolf Fenrises and stuff like that, and it was just cool how Riordan takes stuff you didn't even realize came from mythology. And Alex said, he teaches it, but you don't feel like you're being forced to learn something. Mm-hmm. Oh, Alec had to go do dinner, it looks like.
Oh.
Yeah. Alec will be back, guys. She had to do some dinner engagements, and she'll be back. So.
Sam, what did you think? Yeah,
you didn't give your opinions yet, Sam.
Okay, well, obviously I didn't think it was as good as Percy Jackson, but there are definitely aspects that I like better. I like the humor a lot in this better. Magnus is a snarkier version of Percy.
Yeah.
Even in the Heroes of Olympus, Percy isn't this sarcastic. And a few months ago we read The Red Pyramid, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. I felt was kind of playing too much off the Percy Jackson angle, but this does a good job of kind of diverging. So I liked it better than Red Pyramid, not as much as Percy Jackson.
That's sort of where I was with it too.
Yeah, I had read Red Pyramid a few years ago. I don't even think I could finish it, and I was wary that his new series was going to be like Kane Chronicles, and I wasn't going to like it. I was afraid, the only good thing he writes is the Percy world. But I agree. I thought Magnus was funnier. Percy was kind of playful with his sarcasm, in a kid joking way. Magnus is just in your face sarcastic, which is how I am, so I related to him.
What
did you guys? Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Well, one thing I don't remember too much about Percy Jackson because it was a while ago when I read it. But I think the humor in the Kane Chronicles is a little more like
Darker.
It's like more child humor. You know what I mean?
It's written like for children.
Whereas like this is like very as someone said on the back, like wry humor. I think they said.
Yeah. Like it's like same with like they're the kind of books where they're like Harry Potter, like yeah, they're written for a younger age, but you can like I'm 21 and I didn't start reading Percy Jackson until I was 19 and I loved them. Whereas like I tried reading the Kane Chronicles at 19, 20 and was like, no, this doesn't really work for where I am. And then I read this and at 21 and was like, I love this. I can't. And a ton of people in one of my classes, like a senior like level in college, and we're all reading like Magnus Chase. Like the day it came out, we were all like, you got it too. It's so good. Like, what did you guys think of Sam? What did you guys think of her?
I liked her.
I loved her.
Me too.
Yeah, I really did like her.
I liked that she wasn't like a copy of Annabeth. Like she stood on her.
Like she had her own opinions and like she had her own struggles. I liked how we got to see a lot of her world and stuff because like she had this sort of split life. And
I'm interested, to see more about her because we know like she has this long Norse background in her family, but she's Muslim, and I thought that was cool that she was Muslim, and they didn't even like mention that. I just assumed she had a scarf. I wasn't like, oh, good job, Muslim.
And like one thing, it's very interesting historically because I learned a lot about like the Vikings and like their trade routes and stuff, and there were a lot of Russian Vikings that went to trade in like Constantinople and then other areas in the Middle East, and they eventually settled there, and vice versa. Yeah.
I like that she was a daughter of Loki, which again, like, I really liked her. I thought she was funny.
What did you think of Magnus?
Magnus is hilarious. I love Magnus. I mean, I also thought it was like that he died, like right at the beginning of the book, and then he's just dead. Like, oh, okay.
It's original.
That is. I mean, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, since I knew enough about Norse mythology, I kind of guessed what was going to happen. So, like, you know, I thought it was a really interesting way to begin a book. And I didn't necessarily have, like, a negative reaction to it, but I was like, oh, he's going to go to Valhalla, and then he's going to be, you know, one of the, what is it, Inheriyars, the plural? Yeah.
I liked how you pronounced it in the book.
Yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce it.
I was like, here you go.
I'm interested to see if we get more Annabeth, too, because it's, again, I think it's interesting. Annabeth, this is something that my brain has trouble with, is this is all in the same world. And so, like, Annabeth has no clue that there's Norse gods, and he's a Norse demigod. And so I'm like, okay, how does this work? We have Greek/Roman gods, Norse gods, Egyptian gods. Who's in charge of things? Like, is everyone just divvying it up by cities or whatever?
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, this goddess of the sea is going to get pissed at us. And I'm like, where the hell's Poseidon? Like, I don't even know who the Egyptian person is for that because I didn't read all the books. And so in my brain, I'm like, explain it.
I wonder if he's ever going to explain that. Like, maybe
is like, organize it. How are they divvying it up?
You know, I feel like that is something.
And I'm like, is it Greek end of the world too? Like.
Yeah. And I feel like that is something he's going to explain, the all like the different types of gods, because like at the very end, Magnus and Annabeth talk.
Yeah, so I want to see.
I liked that.
Yeah. So, by the way, I did for how much Annabeth was in this. I liked her in it. You know what I mean? She wasn't in it much, but I liked her in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe the next book is going to like begin with that or something, and then maybe he'll address it.
I wonder if Annabeth will like be a recurring character if they kind of just had her in this book or not. But
I found it and I was like, whoa, 20 pages in, we've got Annabeth already here.
And I was like, oh hey girl.
Yeah.
You.
I liked how they ended talking though, and I was like, well, let's trade stories and we'll see who's as crazier.
Yeah.
Just like,
honestly, I hope if she does.
I want to hear that talk.
Like,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if she does return, I hope she stays as a minor character, just because I think it would just be too much worlds colliding, you know what I mean?
She's got other stuff going on. She can't do that.
Yeah, she's got way too much going on. So
small doses, like occasionally being like, oh, this is what's going on with the Greek gods and stuff. But yeah, I also think if she came in like full swing as like a main character, it would overshadow Sam. And Sam's so lovely, and I like want to have her own thing going there. But I was thinking of another joke I really liked when they're naming all the 9 worlds, and they're like, there's this world, and there's this world, and there's Disney World, and they're like, that's not one of these. Like, I'm pretty sure it is. Like,
well, wait a minute, was it X who said Disney World?
Yeah, it was Odin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't realize that.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. That is hilarious. Yeah, I love how it turned out that he was Odin all along.
Yeah. Now's not the time.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Odin would, like, that we had already met him.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, because like, when we were, like, it was leading up to it, and they were in the hall, and I was like, wait a second. Because he's like, well, then we get to meet, maybe we'll get to meet this guy that's been hanging around. And I was like, wait a second. Odin's been watching them, and they're there. Is he gonna like show up somehow? And then it was like totally unexpected how he turned up.
Yeah, like I thought he was going to be one of at the very beginning of the book, I thought he was going to be one of Magnus's homeless friends.
Oh, that would be
because in Norse mythology, he usually disguises as like a wanderer and stuff like that. So that's what I thought was going to happen, but then he wasn't.
So I have a question. What do you guys think is going to happen relationship-wise in the next 2 books with Sam and Magnus? Do you think that's going to stay platonic, or do you think it's not? Or do you think if it is going to be platonic, that Magnus will get someone else as a love interest, or have a love interest at all? Or like maybe he'll be gay or something? I read Carry On, so now I just like want all the characters to be gay. Like,
quick question. So Perth and oh my god, what's his name? Blitz. That's cute.
mm-hmm.
Just talking about that. Sam, what do you think? You haven't talked a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think like he did a good job of creating these 2 characters and imposing another love interest and making sure we don't draw and assume that they're just going to end up together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should just stay where it is.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of platonic friendships in literature, YA especially, and that's stupid because, like, that also sends off a message that you can just never have opposite sex friends, and I like them as, like, equal friends, and I want it to stay that way.
Well, she likes that other guy anyway.
Yeah.
Marry that dude, so...
Yeah, I agree with that, and also, I think it's sort of becoming a trope, almost like the sitcom formula.
Yeah,
where,
I agree.
Boy meets girl, and then, that, like, etc.
That's all there is.
Yeah, and so I just think it would be more meaningful if they were just friends.
But do you think he's going to find someone else?
Maybe.
I don't think there will be a love interest at all, because the love interests in Percy and Heroes of Olympus were such... like, they weren't the main driving force of the story, but they were a heavy part. And so I wonder if there'll be any love interest in it.
I'd like to see, because it would be interesting if there wasn't, you know what I mean?
Do you think if there is a love interest, it's going to be a heterosexual one? Because we had Nico being gay in Heroes of Olympus, and I think it'd be so cool if the main character was gay. I think that would be the best in a middle grade novel.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
There's like a lot of room for that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, they were talking just based on how he was raised, sort of like from sort of young. He was raised with Blitz and Hearth as like his parents, and I feel like that's in the positive 5. And
Blitz and Hertz are like into each other?
I don't know. I got that 5.
I kind of wondered about that.
Yeah.
Well, since they're both guys and they're both raising him, just,
It's like Timon and Pumbaa almost. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I thought they were like really close though. I like that.
Yeah, I liked them. They were just cute. I liked them. So what was your guys' least favorite part? Because Peter already said it was too long, which I agree with. It was because in the Percy Jackson books and even Heroes of Olympus, it was we have one task we gotta get. Whereas this was a million tasks. It was we gotta get the Sword of Summer, and then we gotta talk to this person.
We need to stop the world from ending.
And it was just, I felt at the 2/3 mark, I had to force myself to keep going, and then it picked up near the end. But for a while, I was like, oh my god.
It got a bit repetitive, I felt, because they did something, and then it was
it was always one thing after another.
But then it's but now we've got to do something else now.
It's oh, we thought this thing was gonna work out, and it didn't. So we gotta do something else. I feel a bunch of different books, because Percy Jackson wasn't. They weren't super long books, and I don't know if maybe he felt this had to be long because Heroes of Olympus were very long books.
But it was they did something and they got a little bit of satisfaction from it, and then they had to do something else.
It kind of reminded me of a video game.
Ah.
Yeah, they just kept going to the next level, and then and then at the end.
There was a lot of downtime for characters. I mean, the characters I thought developed really strongly for the first book, but in Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus, there's so much downtime where the characters are just people existing, talking, and you didn't get a lot of that. There was a lot of times where he'd be talking to Sam, and I really wanted more of it, and then they'd be you know what, forget it, we gotta go do this thing and get this thing and go there, and I wanted more of just genuine them being regular kids talking to each other, and maybe we'll get that more books. I think as a first book, it's pretty solid, because a lot of series' first books are not as solid as I think this one was.
Yeah, it's a pilot episode, except in
book form. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Sam, what did you think?
I think my least favorite part was probably the part with the giants, and also concerning how it kind of felt just jumping around from thing to thing. Percy Jackson had this kind of element of going in one straight direction, geographically and quest-wise, and I kind of missed that feeling because I had no idea what was going to happen next.
And what were you going to say?
Well, maybe he was trying to stray from that.
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to introduce something new, and so I think he was just new to it, so he was still going out to do it.
I was going to say, wanted to not stray from the one quest, one destination, and right from the get-go they're not in a camp. Heroes of Olympus get to Rome and they're in a camp too, and this was very much it's so different. It's different people, different background, no camp, and so everything was messy, which I kind of liked it at first. We have no idea where we're going, we don't know what's gonna happen. But I think it went a little too far. It needed to have a little more guidance. We still there was times I legitimately forgot what the hell the end game was. I was why are we doing this for again? And they're we gotta tie up that wolf. I'm that's right. Because so many of the things, from a bird dragging you across New York, telling you to go get him an apple from a sea goddess, you don't hear that and think, yes, we're doing that so we can tie up this wolf and prevent the end of the world. They don't go. And I feel it needed, I don't think it should have been exact quest like Percy, because then it would have felt like a copy, but I think it needed to be a little more organized than it was.
Well, Camp Valhalla also was sort of like a camp, not camp.
Yeah, that's how I thought of it.
It was camp for a minute. They were
we're there for a little bit, then they're wait, we've got to go on this quest, and you're not going to let us do that.
I was honestly pretty happy when he left. I was hoping he wasn't in Valhalla for a while. I kind of think Valhalla, Norse afterlife sounds like crap to me. I was you're dead, and you don't even get to be with your deceased loved. That's what everyone promises you, is that you get to be with them when you die. They're just yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Vikings had a very interesting philosophy in that regard.
Yeah, so...
Also, what I thought was interesting was they were doing all this stuff, and then they would go back to Boston. And it was wait, they're still in the same city this whole time, but they're in
oh, we gotta go through the tree of life to this world and this world and this world. Okay, let's go back to Boston and get philosophy.
I was oh, yeah, they didn't travel that far.
Yeah, I thought the island was going to be in Europe or Africa or someplace, but then it was just in a boat ride from Boston, and that felt kind of like a slap in the face.
I thought it was interesting when they went to different worlds and then popped back in Boston, because that felt like very Doctor Who to me, that like they would travel to not like physical different places in our world, but literally like across time and space. And I want to see the other world, because we only got we only saw a few of the worlds, and there's 9. I want to see them all.
Yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about how the different worlds were so much like ours, because I think the whole charm of it was that they were such different places,
Yeah. What are the 9 worlds? What are they? Do you know?
Oh God, I think it says in the glossary.
Asgard. Jotunheim.
Wait, which ones have you? So there's Midgard, Asgard, Valhalla, Jotunheim, Niflheim, Helheim. I lost count.
7. 7.
Oh God, what's the fire world called?
We should just look at the book.
And then
They probably have it in the glossary.
Oh, wait. Here it is. Asgard, the home of the Aesir. Vanaheim, the home of the Vanir. Alfheim, the home of the Light Elves. Midgard, home of humans. Jotunheim, the home of the giants. Nidavellir, the home of the dwarves. Niflheim, the world of ice, fog, and mist. Muspelheim, the home of the fire giants and demons, and Helheim, home of hell and the dishonorable dead. I want to see the ice and fog and mist. Did we see that? Because I think that'd be cool.
A little bit.
No, I don't think we did see the ice and fog.
I don't think we did. We saw
Jotunheim, but we didn't see.
What did we see? We saw.
Because the giant world is kind of like that.
We saw the giant world, and we saw. Obviously Midgard, and then Asgard, and then...
We didn't see Asgard.
Oh, wait.
We looked at Asgard.
We looked at it.
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah, for like a second.
Which world is Valhalla in, or is that, like, not a world? It's an afterlife.
I don't know. I don't know if it counts as part as Asgard.
I thought it counted as part as Asgard. Like, it's the part of...
Yeah,
remember when I looked at all of Asgard? I think Valhalla is the part of Asgard where the not gods live.
And I think, like, if I remember correctly, I think Valhalla is specifically part of Asgard, whereas, the other places where the gods live aren't necessarily, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so we only saw Asgard. Obviously, we saw Midgard, and then...
We saw the dwarfs.
Yeah, and then we saw Nidavellir and Jotunheim, but we didn't see any. I mean, we didn't see Helheim. Hel just came and talked to him.
Yeah.
We actually haven't seen a lot of them. I actually really want to see Niflheim now. That sounds good.
Yeah.
That one sounds interesting. It sounds like it could be spooky.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to travel to Jotunheim because giants. Going to go fight them.
I am glad it's only 3 books, though, because this story isn't as big as Percy Jackson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
No.
I wonder how it's going to play out, though.
Yeah, I don't have any, like...
Because, like, Ragnarok is the inevitable doom that cannot be stopped. You can only just prevent it.
What I don't understand, though, again, is the God thing is, like, how does it apply, though, to Greek gods? Is this the end of the world, but it only applies to people of Norse heritage? Like, everyone else lives. It's just, like...
I don't think so.
Like, the world ends.
Yeah, I think it's, like, the world... Well, yeah, like, the world ends, but then... Yeah, I don't know.
I want that explained better, because they keep being like, oh, it's the end of the world, and I'm like, what is...
The world is happening at the same time.
Like, what does Zeus have to say? Does anyone talk to Hermes? Like, what's going on? I don't...
The thing is, I've read things that say in Norse mythology, like, this will happen after Ragnarok.
So maybe
it's the end of the world, but then something else happens, and, like, there's another world afterwards, almost like the Christian Doomsday.
Like, all of them merge together.
Something like that, yeah. So I don't know.
The number one thing is I want Rick to just explain to my OCD brain how all these gods are doing this at the same time.
There's so many.
And what about the afterlife? Like, in Percy Jackson, there's this whole thing with Elysium and the Fields of Asphodel and the Fields of Punishment, and then here there's just like all this hot mess going on.
Like, how many afterlives are there? Like, who is divvying this up? Like, who's like, there's like a filing part. Like, who died? Where do they go? And then they got the Egyptian guy.
We talked about that a bit.
Yeah.
Like, who goes to what afterlife? I think, like...
Yeah, I think it's whichever,
afterlife gets...
whichever one you are associated with.
So, or, like, who gets there first, basically.
Like, your ancestry. So, like, if you are... What I always wonder is, like, is there just also a Christian God in this world? Like, is actual Christian God also in this mess?
I mean, that could be the case. It could be, well, it could be that he's just kind of like, you know, God, and then there are the gods that are just sort of, that, you know, they were like here on the earth, you know, before anything else. They're just like, what the heck, we'll rule everything.
That would be hilarious if the Christian God was just in this.
But it, like, in Percy Jackson, just going way back, he, when Percy first gets to camp, he says God, and it's like with capital G, and they're like, no, God's like with a small g. That's a smaller matter. Like,
yeah.
Earth.
Well, and this is in the Percy Jackson movie, which I know, but it was in Sea of Monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Dionysus is pouring his wine, and it turns to water, because, you know, that's how he's been cursed. And he sighs, he goes, you know, the Christians have a guy who can do this trick in reverse. That's what I call a god. And, like, wouldn't it be great if Jesus just, like, came into the third book or something? Well, he said that thing. That's right, the joke about Jesus and Thor. He's like, Thor's still mad Jesus didn't show up to that duel.
It would be kind of funny if, like, he's just kind of in Valhalla. They're like, yeah, it counted as a battle. You know, he saved people.
Like, the disciples are just chilling there. Like,
hey, what's up?
Jesus was actually the son of Odin, not the son of God.
Right.
I hope no, like, diehard Christians are watching this right now. They're
right,
like,
yeah.
It's like, what are you guys doing?
It's like, when did this become
Don't worry.
Now, see, I'm Jewish, so none of this has affected me yet.
You're like, I don't care.
So, what else do we want to talk about? What did you think of Gunilla? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Gunilla?
She was the biggest rip-off character. She seemed like Clarice.
She's such an idiot. I mean, then again, she's her father's daughter, but...
Like, she literally, you guys remember Clarice?
Yeah, she sort of reminded me of, like, a mix of Clarice and Reyna.
Like, she was literally just, like, not an original. Like, I didn't have any opinions on her because she wasn't a character. Like, she just...
I was the same way until she died. I did feel bad that she died. Like, and normally, if I don't care for a character, like, I don't care at all when they die, but, like, I did feel kind of bad when she died.
I felt like a bit, but I was also, like, good. Now she can stop getting...
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so
It bothered me how her opinion changed so quickly at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't satisfying.
Well, at the same time, it was like, if there are giants and there's a kid who ran away from the hotel, who's the bigger problem here?
I think also, like, two things. One, with that, like, the way she was chasing the kid around the hotel, it was like she was like Javert from Les Mis, like, had this dumb
that.
Like, the world's about to end. Like, can you focus? And she's like, no, it's prisoner escape.
And even when, like, they save her,
I feel like she was just there to just be an obstacle in their way. Like, they were like, oh, it's too easy.
With the device.
I forgot she was even a part of it until they're like slaying the giants. They're like, oh, Gunilla's here. I'm like, oh.
It was basically she was a character that wasn't relevant that kept trying to make herself relevant.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and
it got annoying.
She was just kind of, she was so one-dimensional, I thought.
I agree.
We didn't learn any of her story, really, either. So it was like...
There was just nothing to her. She was just flat. She was like a plot device. She was like...
Yeah.
This, like, the annoying character that will get in the hero's way.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think of the sword?
Oh my god, I love the sword.
Yeah.
Can we talk about where he said, can you make yourself something more conspicuous? And he said, like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's stupid. A pen sword? How would that ever work?
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. I put the book down. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna be a pen. That's stupid.
It took me a minute to like get used to the idea of the talking sword. Just I thought it was weird.
It was very sudden.
It was. But, like, since everything else was talking, like the goats and stuff, too, and just everything seemed like they were talking, so I was like, I'll go with it. The bird, just everything.
Yeah.
I like
And I agree, but the thing is, you know, like, the sword starts out not talking, and then all of a sudden, it is talking.
That's because they became friends.
They had to like bond. It was because he needed to address the sword.
Yeah.
I think he just knows way too much about Norse mythology. And so he's over here like, no, guys, let me give you the textbook definition of Norse mythology. We're just over here like, this was fun. Oh, Alex back. Hey, girl.
Oh my god, the sword was the weirdest thing ever. I thought it was a little bit out of place sometimes.
That's what we were saying.
What was his name again?
Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny where he's like, what's your name? Magnus. Okay, I'm Magnus. No, you can't be Magnus. I'm Magnus.
What's her name?
What's her name? Sam. No, you have to have your own name.
It's like, well, what should I be named? What's a good name?
He's like, I don't know, I guess Jack. Okay, Jack. Call me that.
And then the best was how later when someone, you know, mentioned Jack or whatever,
Jack
and then this one was like, he can't be Jack, I'm Jack.
Oh my god, that was so weird.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
That was just the best.
Did you guys talk about your favorite characters yet?
No.
No,
Really,
we just
no.
sort of talked about them.
Oh, dog. Hello, dog.
Your dog is so cute.
Answer.
Aww.
She wants my chocolate. Okay. My favorite character was Magnus. Unoriginal.
Really?
Yeah, I loved him. I loved him 110%. I thought he was great.
He was a fantastic narrator.
Mhm.
My second favorite would be I forget his name, the sign language elf. Yeah.
My favorite was Samantha. I think her name's Samantha, right? Sam.
Samira.
Oh,
Sam.
Samantha. Oh my god. No, because I asked Bridget what's her name. She said Sam, so I was like, is that short for Samantha? I read this. I'm like,
Samira.
16.
I finished it before live.
Yeah, me too. I finished it like 2 hours ago.
I finished
Seriously?
it like
Oh my god. Okay, I read this.
Her name was Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, basically, she just embodies what I love about female characters. She's so strong, and also I loved how she was like living the double life. That was really interesting.
Yeah, she's my favorite character too.
Yeah, I love her. She's like.
Yeah,
so
I really like how she is constantly trying to prove herself. You know, because that she is Loki's daughter. No one trusts her, and so she's constantly, you know, sort of trying to break that.
Favorite character is Loki. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I did really like Loki.
I did love him.
I didn't like him, but I appreciated him.
He was really interesting.
He seems so nice compared to how he seemed in the Avengers movie. It's crazy.
I've never actually seen the Avengers movie.
Oh,
I haven't seen any of those.
America doesn't approve.
Yeah, I know. I need to. But yeah, so like
Yeah.
I didn't have that influence when reading this, so I didn't.
Oh no, you had your influence of I know all these Norse mythology books.
Yeah, I didn't have that, and that kind of ruined my experience. But
No, watch it now and you'll be like, oh my god, this is this and this is that, and they came from here. So yeah.
That means you didn't appreciate his reference to the movies and like what people looked like.
I don't know of like all the references, but you know the obvious things like you know he didn't look like the Thor from the movie. You know that I obviously got because I knew what Thor looked like and stuff like that. But other
Better
than
than
that,
all of us and just studied Norse mythology for fun and just.
Yeah.
I mean, no. You know what? After reading Percy Jackson, did anyone else try to study Greek mythology?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did.
I actually knew about like Greek and Egyptian mythology before reading those books, but this one was new for me because I know like nothing about Norse mythology except for what was in this book, and so I got to kind of see firsthand how he teaches all of this to a newcomer.
Yeah, I've never studied Norse or Greek. Like, I just learned what I learned from what I read in Rick Riordan's book. But my mom is Irish, so I've, like, my whole life I've studied Irish mythology because I think, like, that's very heavy on, like, fairies and like, earth goddesses and stuff.
You could totally write a book like Percy Jackson or something.
Yeah, his next book would be Irish mythology. You should get on that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like I knew some stuff about Norse mythology because I'd read this thing a while ago, and it was talking about all the different like aspects of it. So it's interesting to see how he sort of presented it, like how they brought in Jormungand, and I don't know how to say his name, like the giant like water.
Oh yeah, the Giants of what? What is it called? The Giants of what?
No, the Jormungandr thing.
Oh yeah, no, but there was something else.
I remember. I forget how his name is spelled.
Jormungand.
Wait, M-U-N?
Yay!
M-U-N?
What?
M-U-N, you said?
Yeah.
Then I think it's pronounced Jormungand.
Yeah.
Or Jormungand, technically.
Because I knew about how he was supposed to unravel and like circle the world and everything, and so I thought it was interesting how like they fished him up and then I liked the sort of, it reminded me of Percy Jackson when they were threatening her and being like, well, you like your trash, you know.
Yeah, I love that. That was one of my favorite parts.
Unravels, he's gonna not let you do any.
And also how low the prices she put on some of her things. Like, you know, it's easily worth $10.
Oh, that's easily worth 30. Don't worry.
I know, that was great. She was like, "Do you understand?"
And how he said, like, you know, the sword was easily worth 20 or something like that, you know.
The thing is, I'm reading that like as a poor college kid. I'm like, I could use $20. Like, yeah, you understand, Magnus? That's like 4 trips to McDonald's right there. I'm like.
What, I don't know, I'm going back to the sword because I'm looking at the cover of the book. I liked how it fought for itself. And, like, he had to sort of make a bond so he could use it better.
Yeah.
And I at first I thought that the reason it was floaty is because, like, when he fell, he wasn't actually holding it, but he was, like, really close to it. But then it was, like, floating and doing its own thing. And I was like, oh, I see what you did on the cover there. I see.
What did you guys think of in the little thing he says in the beginning where he says, "To Cassandra Clare, thanks for letting me share the excellent name."
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen that.
It's on my
At the very beginning,
Yeah, it's like in,
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
That makes
what do you call it? The dedication.
So many books I haven't read.
I never did.
Hunters. B1.
Okay.
Oh, Magnus, he's great.
Yeah.
Both Magnuses.
Yes.
Magnus Sai.
I love, actually, you know, as another thing, I don't think if you guys talked about this, but the, you know, bringing back Annabeth was really, really awesome to see.
Yes.
It's you know, it's appealing to all the Percy Jackson fans. Yeah, like all the Percy Jackson fans are like fangirling. They're like, oh my god, it's Annabeth, and everyone.
In the beginning, well, I was already kind of suspicious because he wouldn't just bring back the name Chase for no reason. And then there's this girl looking for him with blonde hair and an orange shirt, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
she's so cute.
no.
She's so young.
And like, after, I thought that first meeting, that would be it, and then there's the funeral home, and then there's the end, and just...
Yeah.
The end was probably my favorite with her.
I heard the magical Rick Riordan news that coming in the,
Oh, yeah. I was there when he announced it.
the Apollo thing.
I was like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, so that there's gonna be one more series from Percy Jackson.
It was funny because
And I loved Apollo. Where he's like, oh, I feel a haiku coming on. Like,
But when he was announcing it for the first time, he was like, he said, so basically, I'm making a trilogy, a 5-book series. That's sort of going a long way around, but I liked it.
no,
Just like,
Because I didn't read Heroes of Olympus, so.
why not?
No, I'm gonna get to it, but it's really long. Like, if
Well, you haven't read Harry Potter yet either. We can.
Yeah, no, because you started it when the first book came out, but.
you ever read Harry Potter? I need to go.
I read the first one.
Harry Potter shelf over here. I have like 2 full sets of the book.
I see it.
I got
Harry Potter book. I have one back there.
I got the gigantic illustrated one.
I have that right back here. Yeah.
I have a British copy of the third one. I have the Hogwarts Library. I have a freaking bind-up of a speech J.K. Rowling got. I literally just bought this book today because BuzzFeed was like, if you're an adult who loved Harry Potter, you'll love The Magicians. And I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god! Oh my god, I want to read that so badly.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but it's been blurred by all these other fantasy writers like Patrick Rothfuss and Joe Hill, and it's like supposed to be like basically Harry Potter for grown-ups, and I think it's like a trilogy. Oh. And I literally just bought this before the live show. I'm
actually going to Barnes & Noble later, so I'll probably pick that up too. Actually, no, I need to get 1,000 Nights first. I need to get that. That has to go first.
We need to buddy read. Second book, Smell Like Ashes.
Oh yeah, what book are you guys choosing for next month? Or
we talked about this.
Wait,
we talked about this before.
Do we have something for November?
That's what we're figuring out here, Sam.
Oh, okay. I thought we had like a poll for December, and then I actually have one.
We could do it right now. We could just poll. We're all here.
Peter, I talked with you about this. And
I was talking about Irish Fae.
What's that?
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah. I haven't. What is it about?
Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moaning.
Reagan at Brews Project read that and said it was very good.
Wait, what is that?
What is it about?
Wait, hold on.
That's a nice cover.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I have a suggestion too. Let me get it. I like his though too, but I'll throw my bet in.
What are these suggestions for? This next month or December?
Next month.
Is this next month? Okay, I have a suggestion too.
Rolling, I have a suggestion. Okay, this is mine.
How about everyone suggests one book?
Okay, and then we'll.
Peter,
I'm fine with almost whatever.
Yeah.
But this is mine, American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Wow.
Which my writing teacher was like, if you liked all the Norse mythology and Magnus Chase, you get all kinds of mythology in this. Like,
oh, that's really interesting.
That's my bid. Okay, what's yours, Alec? Oh, The Girl with All the Gifts? Is that what that is?
Has anyone read it?
No.
I think it's good.
I haven't read it yet, and I was gonna, but like I don't know. I have no like I have so many. I have Six of Crows. I still haven't read Six of Crows, which is really really bad.
I haven't read Six of Crows yet either.
My candle just fell over and scared the crap out of me. It's not a real candle. I didn't start a fire, don't worry. But like, I heard this loud thump and was like, what happened? I live alone, so like every sound, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Who's in here?
All right, anyone who do you
have?
Hold up your suggestion, Sam. Hold it up. Alec, hold up yours. Okay, what is it?
Mine out. Hold on. I was prepared.
What's yours, Bridget?
I'm still figuring it out. Hold on a sec. Let me
I have no idea what. I mean, I haven't finished the Chronicles of Narnia yet, but.
I'm not reading that. I read that when I was like 10.
Yeah.
So do we want to pick
talk
one
about that
out of these three? I don't know how I feel about Girl with All the Gifts, but I like Sam's suggestion, and obviously I like my suggestion, but like...
What books have recently come out? Oh my gosh.
I don't know, I still need to read Neil.
Oh, we could read, oh no, I don't know if all of you have read it, but like...
Wait, what is it?
We could read, oh my god, what's coming out on November 1st or 2nd or 3rd or something?
I don't know.
Oh, me! And then you're like, oh, I don't know. Well, before Alec disappeared, she said she hadn't read Neil Gaiman yet.
Yeah, I haven't read
so much Neil Gaiman, and he is thebomb.com. I've read Neverwhere, Stardust, and The Sleeper and the Spindle, and I'm gonna read
Winter. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh,
Winter! Oh my god, yo, everyone! Stop.
Oh, I've read The Child Thief. I
haven't.
I've heard about that.
I did a buddy read with Dylan, Books with Dylan, with that.
I've never seen that book before.
So guys, I don't know if you heard the news, but there's gonna be a new Neil Gaiman children's book movie, and I got the book it's gonna be off, and it's called Fortunately the Milk. It's gonna be cool. I've already read that.
I tried reading it, and then stuff got in the way.
Yeah.
So I guess our votes down to American Gods and Sam's because they're the only two all of us haven't read.
I'll have to go with American Gods because I haven't read a Neil Gaiman.
What is yours about? I still don't know.
It's about Irish Fae. That's all I know.
Oh, that's interesting.
American Gods is about, I've read like the first 20 pages. It's really good. It's about this guy, Wednesday, and he goes to jail for some kind of petty crime, and he gets released early because he finds out his best friend and wife have died in a car accident, and when he gets out of jail, he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, and he meets this mysterious man, or no, the guy in jail is called Shadow, and he meets a man named Mr. Wednesday. And that's really all much the back of the book tells you. Everyone, my writing professor tells me to read this. Everyone who knows me at Barnes & Noble tells me to read this. They say it's this story that incorporates, like, every single kind of immigrant who came to America, and they brought their mythology with them, and how it all melds into one, and whether or not they're all real or something like that. And I've read a lot of Neil Gaiman, and he's really excellent. So, and this is like his most acclaimed work is American Gods.
Yeah, I would.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
American Gods, is it?
Yes.
Yay! I'm so excited because I've wanted to buddy read this with someone. I keep asking people, and they're like, "I'm not in the mood." I'm like, "But I want to discuss."
Wait, why have I not seen that cover yet? I haven't seen that
These
cover.
are all. I have all my Neil Gaimans except for a few. And here, I'll show you.
It's a beautiful cover. Where did you get it?
I got them. Here, hold on. I'll show you all my Neil Gaiman books. I haven't read all of them, but I get them all at Barnes & Noble, and almost all his books come in these matching Barnes & Noble editions that look like this.
Ooh.
And they're all like one color and have a picture like that. And so that's American Gods. And then I've read Neverwhere, and it's really good. And then I really just finished Stardust. Good. These are like short story collections. And then I have this one, which doesn't match, so way to F it up. And then I have this giant one, which is like a short story that's illustrated. But almost all his books, there's a few more. You can get The Graveyard Book and Anansi Boys in this edition, too. You can get a lot of his books in this cool edition. I like it because it, like, even though they're not a series, they look really good on the shelf. And they all, if you have little pictures on the, hold on, wait. Little pictures on the spines.
Have you watched the Stardust movie? I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I saw it years ago when I was a kid. And I didn't know it was based off a book, and then I started getting into Neil Gaiman because I just read Neverwhere on a whim, and I was obsessed with it. I loved it. It's one of my favorite books ever.
It's really good fantasy.
Yeah, I loved Stardust. The book is really cute. It's like the book's a lot quieter than the movie. Like the book's very character-driven fairy tale, and the movie made it very epic, which I like. But I like them both. I'm actually gonna rewatch the movie this weekend because I just finished the book like yesterday.
I'm trying to watch the Scorch Trials because I'm behind.
I want to watch the Scorch Trials, but like every time people want to go to the movies, they're like, "No, we don't want to see that. We didn't see the Maze Runner." I'm like, guys.
I know. You need to
I've seen it.
I like it better than the book.
I didn't read the book. I only read the Maze Runner.
Oh, I had issues with it.
Okay, I'm really excited that we're doing American Gods. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah,
Are you
me
gonna
too.
start reading it tonight?
I hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of his best work. I'm currently reading The Magician, so I'll read this after that.
I'm reading Nightfall.
I'm gonna read Carry On.
It's so good.
I know, that's all I've been hearing, and I really wanted to read it, but I was like, I need to get the
watch my channel, they know, because I posted like a book talk where I literally cry in the book talk. In my book talk for Carry On, I literally start crying, and then the video I posted right after that was a freaking scene reenactment where I play and Baz. I'm a woman. I played 2 gay men. It didn't work. Like I didn't even try to make myself look like a man because I just didn't wear makeup. I was like, it's not gonna. To be Baz, I like put my hair in a ponytail. I was like, okay, I'm a man now.
Okay, so as somebody who's read both of them, I've read no Rainbow Rowell books so far. Should I read Fangirl or
Fangirl.
Fangirl.
Fangirl. That is. I haven't read all her books. I've read Landline, Fangirl, and Carry On. I tried reading the other 2. I wasn't making it. I think Fangirl, and I think you'll have like you can read Carry On without reading Fangirl, and it's an amazing book. I just think you have an even deeper appreciation for Carry On if you read Fangirl first, because it's like fan fiction inception, because Carry On is a non-canon fan fiction novel. The main character of Fangirl is writing for her world's version of Harry Potter. So it's like a fan fiction's fan fiction. It's insane. And then Kat O'Keefe from Catty-tastic just wrote a fan fiction for Carry On.
I saw that, and it didn't occur to me that that's what the main character was doing, and I completely forgot that. And Kat, they're just...
Yeah, I think you should read Fangirl first. I also think as every booktuber, like every time a booktuber tells me they don't like Fangirl, I'm like, that's so weird. Like you couldn't relate to Kat.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's
My freshman year of college, I was Cath. Like, I just hid in my dorm. I was afraid to ask. I never wanted to eat alone. There were so many nights I did not go to dinner because I was like, I don't even want to eat with.
Oh, you know what's funny? Okay, so while I was reading Fangirl, I actually do have a twin sister. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're like, is that going to be us in college? Is that really going to be us? Because that would be sad, because I really want to just stay with my sister. Like, I don't want to be separated, but, you know, it's kind of hard to say. So that was really funny.
Yeah, I also think, I talked about this in my mental illness in books video. I think it did a really good job of showing what anxiety disorder looks like. That it wasn't that she was awkward, it was that she actually has anxiety disorder, and it makes things like that so difficult. And my sister and one of my best friends, I have anxiety. I don't have anxiety disorder. But like my one friend has, and my sister both have really bad social anxiety, and they'll be like that. Like, they'll be like, I physically can't go do this because, and I thought, so the whole thing with the dining hall was so accurate.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I don't know if any of y'all saw when Reagan did that scene reenactment like 2 years ago for the BookTubeathon, where she was Reagan and Kath when Reagan's asking her if she has an eating disorder. That was so funny. She's like, "You have an eating disorder?"
No, but like I was in a different book club like for school, and they read that book, and I was like, okay, I'll go to the book club event thing. So that's how I actually read that book, and then a lot of them were like, they didn't like it. I was just sort of like, oh my god, I love this book so much. Why do you hate it?
I'm listening. I'm just putting this stack of books back.
That's how we react when people don't like our favorite books.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh no, but I love it so much. And they were like, well, she's sort of creepy because she's writing all these stuff. And can you imagine she's like staying in her dorm? Can you imagine having a roommate like that? And I was just like
me? Like, no. Someone on my Twitter once was like, oh yeah, I'm reading Peter Pan. And then they were like, I didn't like it. And I was like, I'm fine. My heart didn't die. It's okay. Like Peter Pan is my end-all be-all, and once you guys watch my channel for about 30 seconds, you'll catch that drift, because it'll be really hard to find a video where I don't mention it at least once. A bunch of people during BookTubeathon, because one of the challenges was read someone else's favorite book, and I had like 10 people tweet me and were like, we're gonna read Peter Pan. I was like, if you don't like it, I don't even know.
Still talk to me.
But luckily they were all like, oh, it's really good. I'm like, thank God.
I don't know if any of you read the Lunar Chronicle series, but
Oh yeah, girl. Oh yeah, girl. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, yo, I can't control it. Like, I'm in my gear, I'm in the gear, and I'm so
Scarlet? I know it's like most people don't, but Scarlet was my favorite one. I loved Scarlet.
No, I love Cinder. Cinder is just,
Yes.
she's me.
Scarlet, no, but the book Scarlet was my favorite book too. That's absolutely.
Really? Crest was my favorite though.
I thought Crest was too long. I was like, get on with it. Like,
I loved it. I didn't want to.
Yes.
I mean, I loved them all, but.
Well, I liked Cinder. Everyone was saying how much they loved it, and I was like, yeah, I liked it. It wasn't like my favorite book. And then I read Scarlet. It was okay. And then I read Crest, and I was like, oh my god, this series.
Yeah, oh my god, that happens to a lot of people.
I am very excited for winter because Snow White is like my favorite fairy tale, and it's gonna be like the gangs back together. It's gonna be great.
Oh wait, did any of you enter the Lunar Chronicles fan fiction thing?
No.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yo, Molly, I think if you're doing NaNoWriMo, if any of you guys are, you should try it.
When is it like done by or whatever?
I don't know. Go check it out. It's not done. I don't think it's.
You know, I've seen it. I just was like, I don't know when it's done, and then I thought the deadline was
due Monday, and I don't have any ideas, guys. I'm a creative writing major. Like every day, it's like write a poem, write a short story, do this, and I'm like, I can't. I'm out of ideas.
I was thinking about participating in NaNoWriMo again this year, but I was like, time.
Yeah, I have no time. Not even to read books.
I don't either. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Books. I gotta read my books first.
Books. All right. I personally have to leave, so do we want to wrap this up, or
yeah.
We're completely off the topic of Magnus Chase?
It's all right.
Last thoughts on Magnus Chase, anyone?
It was great.
Yeah.
Our next book is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Yay! I'm so excited about this.
We'll figure out the live show date and we'll update you guys on our channels. So, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Yay, read Magnus Chase.
Later. Well, you probably already read Magnus Chase. Bye.
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 First.